Okay, great. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Bailey. I'm one of the assistant principals, director of guidance, here with Miss Vargo and Mrs. Salerno, both school counselors here in our guidance department. And we're thankful that you're here tonight. We're going to be recording this, and it's really going to be a short presentation, basically a webinar to talk a little bit about our transition from our Naviance program that we've used for years here at Ridgewood High School to Scoir, which will begin in the next few months here and officially for next school year. So we've done a few things already to get going. The last few months have really been working internally as a team in the guidance department to learn as much about Scoir as possible. And to train ourselves so that we can best work with students and parents moving forward. Again, we've all used Naviance for many years, so this is a new program for us. But I wanted to talk a little bit before I turn it over to Ms. Vargo and Mrs. Salerno, who are going to talk a little bit about the how and the what, about the why and why we're making this this change. So Naviance in the last few years was bought out by a larger company, and we've started to notice in recent years just some that the service wasn't as great for our students, for our counselors, for our teachers. So that was part of the reason to make a change to Scoir. But the biggest reason why, and really the final decision was made here about 2 months ago, was this system is much more user-friendly for our students. So we always try to put our kids first and our students first. And it was really a no-brainer once we learned more about Scoir, once we met with their representatives, once we were trained ourselves. When we saw it from a student's lens and from a parent's perspective, we knew that it was a better product, a more efficient product, and just for our kids to have a better experience with the program that's meant to help them eventually with the college application process when they're juniors and seniors. So we're very confident now that we've made the decision to go to Scoir. You know, change is always scary, but with that why being the reason that it's going to be better for our kids, we're a lot more confident moving forward. So then you get into the how. How are we going to roll this out? Students, parents, counselors, teachers, people are familiar with Naviance, and we've used that, again, for a couple of decades now. So it's a little bit scary moving to a new system, but what we've done is we've met with multiple neighboring high schools who have made the change already, including Northern Highlands and Paramus High School. They were kind enough to come to us. We met with their departments, and we kind of talked to them about their transition. And just yesterday, actually, I was contacted by the Bergen County Director of Guidance President, and they're going to have Scoir come and speak to all of the directors of guidance in Bergen County next month. So we envision more and more high schools switching to Scoir and joining us in this move, which we're excited about. So that's enough about the why we're making this change. Mrs. Vargo and Ms. Vargo and Mrs. Salerno have really been instrumental with our other counselors in helping us make these changes and learn more about the program. So they're going to talk a little bit to you tonight about the program, about Scoir, and then also how we're going to roll this out to students and parents over the next few weeks. The chat box is open. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can type in the questions and we'll try to answer them at the end if we're able to. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Bailey. We're going to start things off with a brief overview video here.
This is it.
And apparently an ad. All right, just a little preview here, and we're going to talk about, some of those specifics and the things that you saw.
Just
and if
beginning your college search is a pretty big
oh,
task.
and it's still
There are
talking.
thousands of
Excuse me.
colleges to
Hold on.
consider, and you need to learn
Let's
enough about them
see.
in order to find the ones you actually want to apply to. Once you have an idea of which ones you
Apologize
want to
for
apply
that.
to, then you have to do even deeper research to see what kinds of programs they have, what life is like there, the cost of attendance, and that's all before filling out the application and writing your essays.
Okay. Here we go. Try it again. Okay, so if you had older students and you were familiar with Naviance and just taking a look at that 1.5-minute video, you probably already saw that the images already improved. And that's, again, what we are really focusing on here, just the experience and wanting our students to log into Scoir and use it. So it's just this easy to use, friendly platform that has really attracted us to Scoir. And already with just the few junior conferences that I've had, Ms. Salerno had today, we were just talking about in our individual meetings, just what students have been saying and, the parents' reaction as well. So again, really that's the main reason why we are moving from Naviance to Scoir. It's for that overall experience. And we feel that it's really not just going to enhance the college process, but it also has different features for other students as well. There's going to be career exploration. So for sophomores, when we introduce this into sophomore focus, this will be a wonderful tool for them to use. Freshmen are going to be introduced to this during freshman focus. They're going to be able to log into their accounts. But one of the things that really impressed me about Scoir when we met with the reps, they really looked to accomplish 3 things with Scoir. When students are logging in and doing their search, they want to answer 3 things. Will I get in? Will I fit in? And can I afford it? So those are 3 really big questions, not only for the students, but for the parents to feel really confident with that throughout the search process. And we're going to highlight some of those things right now. The parent and the student experience will be very similar. There will be some differences, but parents will be able to have their own login, and there are many similarities. And again, some hiccups we've had with Naviance. They were bought from a bigger company. We, again, haven't been thrilled with it. So overall, we're just looking forward to making a positive change. So this morning, you should find an email in your inbox with an invite to be invited to Scoir. So you should see an email that looks like this to be able to register for your account. So the email would have been the same one that was registered with Naviance, or the same one that we had on file there. So take a look whether it's with either parent for the student. So you will be able to register and join. The students also received an email this morning.
May I interrupt you 1 second, Ms. Vargo? If you did not receive an email from Scoir, I'm not sure if it comes from Scoir or from me, because I'm the one that put forth the email, the invites. Please email me tomorrow, and we can correct that. That means that you did not have an email address in Naviance, and as a freshman parent, you might not, right? So if you did not get this letter, please email me and I will rectify that and we'll get that out. So not a problem at all.
Yep. Thank you. And then once you get the email to register, you're going to be able to accept or see your student. So whether you have 1 student or 2 in the high school, you'll be able to link those students to your account. Again, students were invited this morning. If they needed to update their email, we're going to be able to go in and individually invite and update email addresses. So again, like Ms. Salerno said, if you didn't receive an email, then perhaps you didn't have an email linked to a Naviance account. We're going to be able to go in individually and make sure that that information is up to date. So this is just the next part of that registration process. You'll be able to see your student and accept and link to that account. Okay. All right. So when you log into your account, you're going to have your parent dashboard. As I mentioned, you have a parent login and the student login. And there are going to be some differences between what the parents have access to and abilities versus the student. The main difference is that the student is going to have the only ability to manage their preferences. So by that, preferences, they are able to go in and set college preferences for, let's say, location from home, type of program or major, different kind of settings. Only the student is going to be able to play around with those filters and set those. When you log into the parent dashboard, your default is going to show you different results based on what that student has put in their preferences. So it will already show you some results and some suggestions based on what your student has put in their preferences. The student is able to go in and edit those preferences at any time. As the parent, you're going to have the same access to doing college search just as the student. You're going to be able to click through some of these suggestions based on what the student has entered on their end. And then you're also going to be able to search for a college in that search bar, and then also go through a more advanced search by narrowing different options here. So again, this is just a screenshot. You're going to be able to go through these different options if you or your student knows the answers to these different questions. I say to my juniors at this point right now, I don't expect you to have all of the answers, but if you have an idea of where you want to study, if you know that you want to study business, or if you already have a test score, you can start to put in that information so you can begin to narrow your list and your search. So there are different search tools that will be available to you. When you're looking at the colleges that come up, you're going to be able to click on the individual schools and learn more about them. So again, an enhancement compared to Naviance, Scoir gives a lot of detail and again, improved visuals just for the experience. When you click on a college profile, there are going to be three main icons or pages to take a look at. The overview is the first page you're going to see. So this is going to be your main information about the school, the enrollment, the stats, and the admissions information. So this is typically what students and parents want to see when they're first looking at a school. So they're going to see all that information up front and to see about the school. You're going to be able to scroll down as well. And behind our faces here, there is a button here that says compare. So the compare option allows you to compare schools with one another in a nice kind of organized way. So let's say, because I'm looking at Santa Clara right now, if you wanted to compare the, admission numbers for Santa Clara versus Arizona State and San Diego State, you would be able to click compare and add those three schools, and those three schools would be lined up and you'd be able to view those stats in a row. So again, just different ways for you to do your search. When you click on the wall icon, the one in the middle here, this is going to populate all of the different activities and organizations that the school offers. So if you notice here, and again, this is a screenshot, this school allows you to play a video. So again, very interactive. And if you scroll down, you'll see all the list of different clubs and activities that the school offers. So really encouraging the student, not only the academic side, do they offer your accounting major, but do they have things, outside the classroom that you'd be interested in participating in? These things are just as important as what's going inside the classroom. And if they find something that they didn't know that they were interested in, such as ultimate Frisbee, which is a very popular growing activity on college campuses right now. If they were super excited about ultimate Frisbee, you could click on ultimate Frisbee and other schools will pop up that also have ultimate Frisbee on campus. So just an example of how to really kind of expand your search. So that's the wall feature. And then on sessions, the sessions list will show all of the events and visits that school will have in the area. So right now, it says right now, no sessions are currently planned, but this could be a place where the school will list different college fairs that they're coming to in the area. If they want to list here when they come to do their Ridgewood High School visit, and we'll be talking to seniors when they can sign up to do those visits. There will also be times where colleges are hosting just event at a local hotel for students and parents, and they really want to outreach to students so that they can join them. So this is just a great way to see when and where that college will be. And even if a student did, a visit on campus and they did, a rep visit at our school, it's still great for students to take advantage and really meet the rep wherever they go at a college fair multiple times, just because it's showing that demonstrated interest and it's showing them that the student is really caring and kind of really reaching out to them. So eventually they'll be able to list all of the events that will be happening. I expect that to be filling up probably at the end of the summer into the fall during the busy admissions application season. I have another video to show, which gives more of an overview, a more interactive view of some of the components that I just spoke about. If it will show me here. Okay.
Hi, and welcome to Scoir. In this video, we will show how parents can use Scoir to research colleges and add them to their students list, calculate school cost, answer surveys, and communicate with school counselors. When you first log in as a parent, you'll be taken to your dashboard where you'll have insight into your student's application status, college search, trending colleges, and those that have been suggested to you based on your student's interest. In terms of search, parents can complete a preference and advanced search and use the college comparison tool. This is similar to that of the student, so maybe parents can better suggest schools to their student. It's important to note that parents cannot manipulate their student's search or profile in any way. They can only make suggestions. Parents can review the student's full profile, as well as see their My Colleges list. You will also be able to see scattergrams as well. Back on the dashboard, you can view helpful links and survey information, as well as your cost calculator. We understand that the cost of college is not normally what parents think, so to assist with this, Scoir provides financial tools to help better accurately estimate and calculate the cost of attendance so they can incorporate this into the college selection process. We have a few methods of cost estimation that we have broken down. Average net price, according to what the colleges are reporting. Income-based net price, which allows parents to select from 5 brackets according to the Department of Education. Manual entry, where parents can manually enter the custom price estimate if you have it. And finally, we have the custom price estimate. This allows parents the ability to calculate the EFC directly into Scoir by entering some family-specific and financial information. When they do so, we're going to give them their custom price estimate. Having access to these cost calculators within Scoir can save parents the hassle of going website by website to use various net price calculators. This is not a replacement of a net price calculator, but Scoir's option is 95% accurate. Once complete, we will incorporate this information into the college search so that parents will always see the custom price in comparison to that sticker or list price. And up at the top right-hand corner, you can click to view your message center, as well as any notifications that you may have. You can also access this from your welcome dropdown, which also includes a survey tab in case you have any assigned to you.
Okay. All right. Let's exit out of here. Okay. We will get back to the presentation. Okay. All right, just bear with me.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to go over Scoir.
Okay. All right. So we spent time talking about the parent experience. Again, you have all of the access to doing the college search. You will be able, as the video mentioned, you're going to be able to suggest colleges for your student, but you're not going to be able to add it to their list. But again, you're going to be able to suggest it for them, just as their counselor is going to be able to suggest colleges. And then it'll be up to the student whether they want to follow the college or not. So again, in some of the early just junior conferences already, students like the look of this. Someone said it's like Instagram, that they're following a college. So again, very user friendly. So the students will be able to follow the colleges. In a little bit, we're going to talk about scattergrams and what that looks like with some overlaps. And before I mentioned, students will be able to build their profile by putting in their college preferences with the information that they already know, and then again, go back to edit as they do more research later on and getting closer to the summer. And then for even our freshmen and our sophomores, they're going to be able to use this tool just to start inputting their activities and awards. For even our seniors, they have to remember everything they did back from freshman year. It's good to start tracking and entering all of their activities and clubs since 9th grade. So now is a good time to start entering that information. And again, there will be opportunities for career exploration and for them to build a career profile with maybe some goals and ideas for what they want to do or study in college. We listed, there's another video here if you want to take a look at the student video. Again, this presentation is being recorded and we're going to share this PowerPoint out for you to go back and review. Okay. All right, Ms. Salerno, do you want to take over from here?
I do. So I'm going to take, you can look at the screen, but I'm going to take you into a live version of the scattergrams. Okay. All information from Naviance up until class of 2022 has been inputted into Scoir. So we are as current as Naviance now, which is helping with the transition. We are using Scoir with our juniors now. All right. And then once the senior information is done during the summer, once all of the decisions and everything have been input into Naviance, we will transfer that stuff over to Scoir as well. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now.
Just to be clear on that, Mrs. Salerno, this is going to be Ridgewood High School data.
I'm sorry. Yes. And yeah. This was, okay. 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 So you should be able to see now when this is actually the counselor side. Okay. But yours, the student and the parent looks the same in terms of how you can search for things. So this is the search screen. And again, you'll see all of the different criteria you can put in. as you're doing your search, okay? Or you can just put in a school. So I'm going to put in, okay, we'll go to Providence, okay? And again, the color and the photos that we get on this is just much more user-friendly and just more appealing. Naviance doesn't have any of that. So we can go on here, okay? If this is the school we want, we already just hit suggest, and that goes on to your students list, all right? We're going to go to admissions, all right? First of all, we will get admission rates, okay? There was a question in the chat, and I can answer that. The data is coming from the schools themselves. Scoir works with all the schools to get their most recent admissions statistics, tuitions, things, and admission rates and things like that. So that's coming from the schools. That's not this data is from the schools. When we look at the scattergrams, that's going to be Ridgewood High School specific data, okay? So we're going to go to the scattergram, all right? It's a lot. So because this is data from 1999 to current, okay? What I would like to say to you is I would clean some of this out, and that's what we've been doing with our students, like almost to 2020. I've gone to COVID year because that seems to be when the tides have turned and testing wasn't counted and things like that. So we've kind of just been using 2020 data and on because the most current data is the most applicable, okay? So once you are on the scattergram side, you will see over here, all of these colleges. These are the colleges that they're cross-referenced, okay? So if a student, most likely if a student has Providence on their list or applied to Providence, they most likely have one, if not most of these schools on their list. They all have the same type of characteristics. So that helps as you're starting to compile lists. If there's one school in particular that you like, we should put it in the list and then see what else pops up, because that will help you to start generating to give you other things to look at, okay? So the scattergram, okay, has SAT on one side, ACT on the other. So you'll see both sides depending. If you took both, it'll all plot. If not, you'll just look at the one side, and then the GPAs are up at the top, okay? So you'll look at up here is your key, all right? So you look at the green. So if depending on where you are, all right, when you log in as a parent or student, you're going to see a star to where you fall in here. But for right now, this is just general information, okay? We've got one here, all right, 3.9, 1270, ACT 20, they were accepted. They also applied early action. It's very clean, easy to read, okay? The other thing we really like about this is the heat map, okay? So this definitely will help you to, as you start to look at schools and saying, is this a reach? Is this a target? Is this a safety? If I'm falling in the dark green, right, it's probably safe. If I'm in the lighter greenish yellow, that might be more target. And if I'm in the red, that's going to be a reach school for you, right? It's very clean and easy to read, which we really like as well. Okay, so that's how we utilize the scattergram on the throughout the colleges. Okay, and again, you can search, but you'll also get everything you need right on this front page too. Okay, like Ms. Vargo said, everything is easy and at your fingertips right when you log in. Okay, this one does not have a video, but some of them do. Ms. Vargo, you have the...
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Also on the scattergram too, when we found out, because there's been that question of, did the students submit the test score or not? And we just learned that students are going to be able to indicate whether they've applied test optional or not, which is going to be super helpful for future students looking at the scattergram who are wondering, all right, we know this is the GPA, they were admitted or they were not admitted. Did they submit the test score? So that's going to just be an additional piece of information that we're going to be able to view using the Scoir scattergram. So that's a bonus piece of information that we're going to have there as well.
And the other part of the scattergram, sorry, I don't know if you were going to go here, but students will be able to add hooks. They call them hooks. So if you're a first generation, that will be able to get put in there. If you were an athlete and were recruited, that gets to go in there as well. And so just little things, right? We'll be able to count up how many APs and honors classes and put that in, because that kind of helps too. So the data that we can collect per student is much more in depth, which I think, which we know will actually help us as we guide our students. Because, you know, sometimes you've looked at the scattergram on Naviance and you're like, okay, I don't understand how a 3A no scores got into Harvard, right? We always pick on Harvard. It's always the school of choice. And, you know, and then we come back and we say, well, that was probably an athlete, or that was a first generation or a legacy or whatever. So now we actually will have that data from the students so that we can not even guess. We'll know exactly why yes or no's happened.
The question about the GPA being weighted or unweighted in there.
Okay.
And I believe up top, you can choose which one. The weighted one is the one we recommend that you use, though.
Right, because that's GPA. But you can do both, and the student will be able to see both on Scoir. Ms. Vargo asked me to do something, and I forgot because I was so excited to start talking to you about the scattergrams. We found out the history of Scoir, and we just, you know, these are fun facts. If you ever show up on Jeopardy, this is what you'll have to tell them. Scoir, and people have pronounced it as Scoir, or we don't even know, but it's pronounced Scoir. So here's the history of Scoir for you. Scoir is an Irish Gaelic verb that means to exit, retire, or transition from one phase to another. Makes sense. It was chosen by our founder, an Irishman from Belfast, while watching the 2012 Navy Notre Dame football game in Dublin's Aviva Stadium. The director of enrollment at Notre Dame asked, "What's the score?" And Scoir was born. So that's your little history lesson of Scoir. In case you ever go on Jeopardy, you'll have the answer.
I liked hearing that. Okay. Thank you for that. And I think, let's see, I think that brings us to the end here. Our goal was to just give a nice overview how to activate your account, some of the great features in here, but you know, your counselors and us, you know, specifically are going to be very happy to help walk you through it. We're excited that the students are excited. I think we have a wonderful platform here to use. So any questions, Mr. Bailey, in the chat that we can quickly answer?
I just went through. I'm going through them. I think we've answered
there's a few. I mean, some of these individual questions as far as passwords and you know, maybe seeing one student but not the other. We're gonna ask that you contact your individual counselor, and we'll help you with that, just like we would with Naviance.
Sure.
Does it cover international colleges? It will. Will it link to Common App the way Naviance does? Not the exact way Naviance does, but it will work with Common App.
So yeah, I mean, Scoir is going to, you know, we're going to be able to electronically send documents the way we were sending documents electronically through Naviance.
I looked around, and you can actually apply to colleges through Scoir. Is that for any schools? That was one of the questions. Yeah.
So when it says that, that means that you're applying through the coalition. So that will be a question and discussion and instruction when we get to senior focus. We will instruct students how to or to not do that. So you don't need to worry about that. There is a question here: how much longer will Naviance be available? We will finish out the seniors with this, and then we will be all Scoir coming September 2023 school year. There is an app for Scoir. So that's the next question. There is an app, so you can download that and work right from your phone. If you're not seeing your students, that just means your students have not accepted their invitation yet. Okay. So if you have two kids and you're like, well, I only see one, that's because your older kid probably was like, I don't really want to be bothered with this. And they have not accepted yet. So just encourage them to do that. They receive their invitations within minutes of you receiving yours. So as soon as they accept their invitation, you should see them. If you don't, then email me and I'll take a look at it, but that should fix that. I put my email address up in the very beginning. Somebody asked. It's csalerno@ridgewood.k12.nj.us. And then
so just in closing here, just a couple of things, because I'm just noticing the questions and I'm just seeing a theme. So your students have not been trained on this yet officially. They've received an invite and they can log in and they can kind of start exploring on their own. But over the next 6 weeks, that's the next step, is training your students. So we're going to meet in January with freshmen, sophomores, and juniors at different parts of the month regarding their scheduling for next year. And in those meetings, we're also going to talk about Scoir and introduce that to them. For the juniors, currently they're going to be having their junior college conferences with their counselors and parents if they haven't already done so. And we're going to, instead of using Naviance, we'll just be using Scoir in those meetings. And I want to really drive home the point that nothing is changing in our system that we have at Ridgewood High School within our guidance department for how we work with families and students in creating a list of schools and applying to colleges, and the teacher recommendation piece, and all of these things are going to stay the same. And we tweak them each year to make them better. But this is just a new platform that we're going to use for this process. Like looking at those scattergrams and seeing all that information, that's just a tool that we use with our students and their families to create a balanced list of schools to apply to during their senior year. Okay, it's not an exact science, but it's information that we have and data that we have, along with all of our experience and doing this for many, many years, to help guide our students and families. So I just want to, again, it can be a little bit scary changing to a different platform, but we are very confident that it is definitely a better experience for our kids. And that's what's the most important piece. And us as the adults, parents, counselors, we're gonna be right there with them and figure it out together. There'll be a few learning curves, I'm sure, and a few bumps in the road, but nothing that we can't handle. So again, the sophomores, juniors, and freshmen will get trained on this in the next 6 weeks here. Parents, if you have not received an email, just reach out to your individual counselor, and we'll help you with that. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Yeah, there was just one on the teacher recommendation process. It's going to be an easier process with the teacher recommendations than it was with Naviance. I don't want to go into details right now, but it will be easier, which was another reason we want to switch over. Okay, so I want to thank Ms. Vargo and Mrs. Salerno for all their hard work in preparing this presentation. I want to thank our counselors for really, over the last 2 months, really training and getting prepared for this transition. Any questions that you have throughout the process, please contact your counselors. Okay, your counselors will be working with your students and helping them with the new website. Any technical difficulties, any questions with emails, with passwords, with things like that, again, you can contact your individual counselor and they will help you out. So thank you for joining us. This is recorded. We're going to send it out to the community tomorrow, and then it'll be on our website for people to access anytime. Thank you all. Have a good night.